Yeah, that was a good icebreaker because every time I get on Facebook, I'm always seeing something. I'm like, somebody should have told them that was...
Baby.
You see a lot of no-nos on social media too?
Oh, gosh.
From adults?
All the time. Every day. There's never a day that I don't log on and I'm like, oh, you don't want a job. You just don't want a job. Because people don't understand what freedom of speech means. Freedom of speech means the government can't persecute you.
Right.
It doesn't mean that your private institution cannot come after you. It does not mean that your private organization cannot fire you. It means the government cannot come after you. So people think this is Merca. I know my rights.
Right.
It doesn't mean
Democrats.
No, it does not mean you can just get on the internet
and say
whatever you want without consequence. People have to be mindful of that. You cannot get on the internet and just say whatever you want and think there are no consequences.
What are the red flags that people should keep in mind on social media? We need to remind people because I've seen a lot of wild stuff this week.
So when I teach classes to kids, I always say, would I want my 90-year-old grandma to see this? If the answer is no, then I probably shouldn't post this.
Yeah.
Now, some grannies get down, but most
Facts.
grannies do not. If you have to question, should I? That is the ultimate. I don't know if you guys know who Red Flag Guy is on Instagram. He's great. But if you give yourself pause and say, should I post this? That is usually the universal red flag of, I probably should leave this off of the internet. Would my job have a problem if I posted this? I probably should leave this off the internet.
I say that because I feel like I know a lot more about people's personal lives more than I should.
Absolutely. We are in the era of oversharing.
You know, I think people don't understand the power of professional help versus like, you know what, I'm just going to use social media as the platform. And I get people need to vent, but in some places you don't need to vent at.
Yes.
Like personal problems, personal situations.
You should probably get a diary instead of putting it on Facebook.
Well, Facebook has become people's journal. Like I have a friend who, she doesn't have a ton of followers, so she has a page that's kind of like, I don't know if anybody's ever read Virginia Woolf, but Virginia Woolf writes in a style that's called stream of consciousness, where just things just kind of come off the top of her head.
Right.
That's kind of what social media has become. Really, the problem is when we left the .edu era, that's when social media changed.
Yeah.
When you didn't have to have .edu anymore, that's when the game changed.
It was just open season.
I kid, but I would say about 10 years ago, because I've been on Facebook since 2005, there was like a shift when Facebook got very political. When Facebook got the mommy groups changed Facebook a lot. What started out as people just genuinely looking for help, that's when the sarcasm came. That's when the judging people for just genuinely needing help came. Twitter was the same way because I was still in undergrad when Twitter started, and the early Twitter was just
crazy.
The early Twitter was just, it was a time.
Remember the hashtags?
Oh, early Twitter was just a time, and Threads kind of reminds me of early Twitter. But a shift took place, and it became very condescending. It became almost like a hurtful place. And again, the classes that I teach kids, we talk a lot about cyberbullying. We talk about, the internet is a safe space for a lot of people because we really don't know what's happening in people's real lives. Right. And we always have to be mindful of that everybody doesn't have a safe physical space. So the internet, back when we had chat rooms that were very specific to a very specific topic, that was the freedom that people had in those places. And now people just don't have that anymore. And I almost wish this like renaissance would happen. Like we go back to this time. And I don't know if that will happen.
It's like no boundaries.
Yes, people don't have boundaries. I almost say that we live in a place of the overly sensitive and the undersensitive. And and it's a spectrum. We have the people who I can say what I want and I do not care. And then we have the place where people just, they can't accept any type of critique or any type of criticism. Anything anybody says is just an attack. And it's almost we need to find some type of common ground And I can only hope that one day that can happen.
You don't really see how annoying social media can be until like political season. And you also see people who don't do like research.
Yes.
You know, and that's all it takes. Google is a tab away.
But here's the issue with Google. Google has everything.
Access.
Everything is on Google. So people have to have the discernment to say, is this a legitimate source or not? And the issue is, and I'll use Fox and CNN as a examples. Well, I'll actually use Fox and MSNBC because they are pretty much polar opposites. Fox has an audience, and so does MSNBC.
Oh, Fox has an audience.
And so does MSNBC.
Yeah, true.
And what I do is I will watch the same story on each network, and I will see how each network is reporting that same instance. That is how you get a well-rounded view. You can't watch one network all the time and consider that news.
Because you see different perspectives.
You have to get different perspectives. There used to be a time where the news just was the news. And I won't go too deep into my theories about how the news is run by advertising, because that's really what I think. Because at the end of the day, advertisers is what runs TV. But I will say that you have to get your news from multiple sources if you're going to get a well-rounded view. People have to be willing to read BBC. They have to be willing to read Al Jazeera. They have to be willing to read CNN. They have to be willing to read Fox. And then you need to read your local paper. You need to read the Repository. You need to read the Independent. You need to read the Beacon Journal. You need to read the Plain Dealer. You can't just rely on the national news to tell you what's what. You have to be, and then the other thing is you got to talk to each other.
Right.
You have to talk to people that aren't in your circle. You have to talk to people who don't look like you. Like, we are losing the art of communication. We are losing wanting to actually just talk to each other. And this is how I feel, and this is just what it is. And that's not how communities are built. There used to be a time where people could literally just go and meet up and have conversations, but we've just gotten to a place that we're almost not willing to do that anymore. And that's not how societies are built, and that's how societies crumble. And
the sites that you mentioned, like all the different avenues and outlets for reading, people substitute that for social media. They think like, oh, okay, well, I don't gotta watch BBC or Al Jazeera. I'll just get on my timeline. And then when you go on the timeline, it does not match news. You know, because you can go in there and just say anything, but it's like, that doesn't mean it's a gospel. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Versus someone who's well-rounded and watching different outlets. I think it's great to watch different perspectives. That's knowing the world. Some people think the world is what's on the timeline. Mm-hmm. And that's just 1%.
Mm-hmm. We'll take the Olympic boxer, for instance.
Oh, man.
People took that.
Great example.
And now everybody was a chromosomal expert. Everybody knew all about. You haven't learned about XY chromosomes since 10th grade biology.
Yeah,
but now all of a sudden, everybody knows everything about. And then now she's suing. She's suing X. She's suing Rowling. She's suing Elon Musk. You know, everybody was so sure. People didn't look into the backgrounds of the organizations that tested her. Like, people just took it and ran with it. People that I know personally were like, this is unfair. This is this. This is that.
No knowledge, no research, just what you...
Somebody got punched and they felt some type of way. And my first thought was, well, since when do losers get to create the narrative?
100%.
But that's just my... You know what I mean? But that is probably just the most recent example of people having a very limited knowledge of a situation, something that they're not strongly familiar with, and they took it and they ran with it.
You saw so many different perspectives. Like, you seen some with sense, some who made good points, and you seen some who were just straight disgusting. Like, you could just tell by the way they were talking about her. And then in my eyes, I was just like, oh, so she just took a loss. If the girl hit you, beat you up, the girl knocked you out or did work, and she just hit you that hard. But to say that equated to her being a man, I'm like, that's just ignorant to say.
Well, and the thing is, like, there's so many. It kind of lets you know where people fall.
True.
It let people know how they feel about certain people and certain things. It wasn't about that I'm a boxing fan, but I don't follow it that deeply. It wasn't about boxing.
Yeah.
It was never about boxing. And you could infer where people fell and where their allyship fell. And it was one of those things where it's like, when is the last time you've ever had a conversation about XY chromosomes?
Right.
In your life?
Ever.
But it just kind of, that's just, I say that to say that is just a most recent example of people taking limited information that they don't deeply study or have any understanding of on a regular basis. And they took one tweet and then they did some kind of limited research on it and they formed a full opinion and they ran with it.
I hope she gets every dollar because I seen people just dogging her. You seen it too, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I woke up and my whole timeline was like that. I was like, why are people even judging on a situation we don't have any of the actual facts for or anything like that?
And I generally say we are in a race to be first and not accurate.
True.
But people form their opinions based on limited knowledge, and this is what happens. And she's taking legal action at this point, and we'll just see what happens. Because
man or woman, she'll knock you out. I wouldn't go in the ring with her.
She's in the Olympics for a reason.
I'd be like Friday. I'd be like, no, like I'm good. You won. Like you said, you're a boxing fan.
I do not watch. I didn't even know Floyd had a fight last night.
I was just about to say.
I had no idea he was fighting.
I think the whole world was like, he fighting, but it was his exhibition.
I had no idea there was a fight last night till I woke up this morning and I was like, Floyd had a fight last night? You're
the man when you can fire a referee in the middle of a fight.
I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah, he was like, get him out of here. He just got pulled like that.
The money team.
Who's your favorite boxer? Do you have a favorite? Or favorite fighter?
I love Clarissa Shields. Because she's the GOAT. I'm just a fan of the sport. I'm not gonna sit here. This is what happens, and this happens in music too. When you say like I really like J. Cole a lot, right?
Respect.
But it's like, if I can't name every song off of Friday Night Lights, then I'm not a real fan. You know what I mean? Like, so yeah. Like if I can't name like I like Jesse James Leha. I can't name every single fight he ever won. Like, I used to take classes at his gym in San Antonio when I was at Fort Sam Houston. It's like, if I can't name every single fight that he ever won or lost, then I'm not a real fan. And I hate that fandom has come to that point. Like,
especially with rappers, I hate that, man. Like,
if you don't know the date that it dropped at the time, then you not a fan.
There's 3 of his mixtapes. Like, why can't I just like Friday Night Lights?
You ain't got SoundCloud on your phone, then you not a fan. All right, guys.
Do you like Big Sean?
I do. And that album with him and Janae was everything.
Thank you.
Would he be in your top 5 though?
7 or 8. So I think what it is, and I know I'm in a room full of guys, Big Sean got Big Daddy energy, and I think that's part of what the fandom is.
That Detroit, that energy, yeah.
Big Sean is just, but I just, like I said, it's just, that album, I've always liked Big Sean. I like Big Sean's flow. He got a nice swag about him, but I just can't
2088 was fire.
Man, I repeat. It's still in rotation.
100%.
Will always be in rotation.
It hasn't left.
I'm sad that there will likely never be another one.
I mean, he's dropping a new album, though.
We're not getting another.
But we're not getting another 2088.
We don't know if they'll stay together.
I'm waiting on Rihanna's album.
She covered that tattoo up.
Oh, yeah.
We're not getting another album.
Once she covered that up, it's a wrap.
Yeah, they had a kid, but she covered the tattoo up.
That's it.
So it's one of those things where it's like, if you don't know every bar, especially when people get the Jay-Z and you don't know every bar from the Blueprint, you're not a fan. But stop it.
That fandom is annoying.
It's so annoying.
Jeremy, you got a rapper you're a real big fan of, or an artist you're a real big fan of?
I mean, Jay-Z is like my all-time favorite rapper, but I have a buddy who's like, bro, I never hear you play him at all. And I'm like, I mean, it doesn't mean he's not my favorite.
You don't have to shower to him for him to be your favorite rapper.
You ain't got to listen to Blueprint every day.
No, you don't.
Come on,
no,
man.
I get like that.
What else is on your playlist? Excuse me.
Lotto's album is in full rotation.
Is it hard?
What? I listen to. I like to act like I don't have a government job when I ride to work.
Yeah, when you said Lotto, I was like,
what? Like,
Lotto?
I like to act like
the brand new Lotto?
What? Big mom.
I can't see you bumping Lotto on the way to Mr. Shear's office.
What?
Like,
you don't know me very well.
I don't. I was not expecting Lotto.
Big Glow in that mode.
What?
All the way down market. All the way down market. So in rotation right now is Everything, Big Lotto. Cowboy Carter is still in
For
rotation.
sure.
I am a big Adele fan.
We talked about Adele.
I love it. Adele can do no wrong.
At all.
Ever. I accept no Adele slander ever. Who else am I listening to right now?
I'm still shocked by Lotto.
What?
On down market.
What?
Your speaker shaking, lights like boom, boom.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. I turn it down when I get to the courthouse.
You turn it down when you get to
I know them over there. I'm trying to think what else. I'm a playlist person, so I like to like mix all this. I have a playlist right now called Outside.
All Lotto.
No, it's not all Lotto, but it's definitely not what people expect for me to be pulling into.
What's on there?
I'll have to tell you offline.
All right.
It's not. It's old Trina on there.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
So you got Nan on there.
absolutely.
You going to work playing Nan. That's crazy.
I mean, because you have to prepare yourself to.
yeah,
be
you got to get in that mode.
Yeah. It's definitely just unruly behavior.
It's all good. You got to get the day right.
Yeah, you just, sometimes you just have to be prepared to be in these government streets.
Like, people think I just go to work listening to Tribe all day. No, I got put on 21 Savage going to the mail route sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, I do listen. Oh, I have a Thames playlist right now.
Okay.
That I enjoy very much.
Well, Afrobeat. All right.
Yeah. I listen to a lot of J. Cole. I really like J. Cole. I'm trying to think who else am I listening to right now. It's about the girls right now.
For sure.
It's not hot girl summer. It's like tepid summer.
Yeah, it's over.
It's like 67-degree summer.
For sure.
It's not 7 p.m. Friday.
So you only bump Lotto until about mid-September, and then you got to bring it back.
Well, no, that album just dropped, so she's...
You say all year. Rest of the year.
And people just have to accept the album for what it is. It's not for boys. It's not...
I was about to ask you what recommended song, but
it's not for you.
All right. What you
The
bump?
production is really good, though.
Who's the producer? Metro Boomin on there?
If I hear his sound... Because there's some... It's the one producer is like the same on some of Glow's songs.
I don't know. That's Take Heath. I don't know who it is. There's so many different producers.
I don't know, but it's that same kind of sound, very heavy on the 808 type of, girly music. Like girly. I don't know. I don't have a better. Just that. I don't know. Nicki has a line that Sunday Service, the remix with Flo Milli and Nicki and
I like Flo
Lotto.
Milli.
Yeah, it's very like, go play with somebody else. Go play with somebody else.
I ain't got time.
I will replace you. I'm not about to chase you. Go play in somebody else's face.
That's why I feel like the whole Lotto album is like, 'cause Lotto's album is just like, I don't need you. This is for us.
Well, it's just very like.
But she's dope.
It's just very. This episode of Bluey is called Go Play with Somebody else.
Jeremy, what's on your playlist? What you been bumping lately?
I've been big into Big X the Plug, the Mexican OT lately. Post Malone just dropped a country album, which I'm not a big fan of country. Yeah, but
he finally dropped a country album.
He's got everybody on there too. He's got Tim McGraw. He
has come a long way since White Iverson.
Man.
His evolution is amazing.
He talked about that. He did an interview. He mentioned like he was depressed after he dropped White Iverson because they put him in the conversations of like colorism and cultural appropriation, which we could see. That's why I said finally he dropped a country album. Like he should have been did that. I didn't know he was from Austin, Texas. But it's dope to see him doing that. He got Morgan Wallen on there too. Morgan Wallen is like the Justin Bieber of country right now. Like he's everywhere. This was a Where My Route. He said he wants a mullet like Morgan Wallen.
Mullets are in.
I don't like Morgan Wallen after that video came out about him. I think it was like a year.
I know people forgot about that. That's just how it is. People forget
just
scandals.
completely overlooking. It's like that's not acceptable. But
Oh
I
no!
guess
When I see a celebrity do something like kind of sketchy and people forget about it, it always stays in the back of my head. Like, and that won't overlook the music. I'm like, I can't really enjoy their music if I remember them saying certain words or doing certain things.
But we're very short-sighted as a society.
True.
And some folks get a pass. Some people's passes are shorter than others.
Anybody get a pass with you? I don't think nobody gets a pass with you. Are there some people you be like, yeah, they did that, but I like this song?
Not off the top. I can't think of anybody off the top of my head. I think it all just boils down to grace.
Yeah, there's a person, but I don't want to say his name on the show.
Okay.
But he got some classics that a lot of us know. I just don't want to say. I just want to bring him up.
I know who you're talking about.
Right. You see?
I know who you're talking about. I think that I'm just very big on like. I think that we all want to be given the same level of grace. And sometimes people forget that celebrities go through things.
They're human too.
They are human. At the same time, we're all grown.
True.
And decisions are made.
100%.
And we have to decide what we will and won't support.
That's real. I like that. See, now when I post on social media or give a thought, I'm gonna have you in the back of my head. Like, let me just think about it a little different. Think about a playlist or artist a little bit different.
Hogwarts.
What'd you say?
That's Hogwarts.
I'm a big Harry Potter fan.
Oh man.
What's your house?
I'm a Gryffindor, but with caveats.
See, I'm learning all. See, man.
Oh, I watch Goblet of Fire is my emotional support movie.
That's probably my least favorite one.
I'm going to all this stuff.
I'm sorry, I completely derailed our serious conversation.
No, because here's what, because I'm going to ask you about
before
that.
we go any further, no Harry Potter slander will be tolerated.
Nah, because I got
I don't slander it.
I got questions about Harry Potter.
Okay, I'm ready. I can probably answer.
Okay, well, real quick before we go into the second part, where can they follow you on social media? Shout that out.
So I can be followed on Instagram at We Like Chrissy. Because who doesn't like Chrissy? And I'm Christian Turner on Facebook.
All right, Jeremy, what about you?
You can follow me on Facebook at Jeremy Andrew or on Instagram at _JinjaNinja_1.
All right, and you can follow the podcast on Instagram, SWYM Podcast, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, all that at Jean P the MC, www.jeanpthemc.com. Subscribe, like, comment, rate, do all that cool stuff. You gonna stick around with us for a minute?
I'll be here.
All right, man. Jean P the MC, episode 155. Christian Turner, say what you mean. Peace.
Peace.
Say what you mean what you say.
Episode 155 of the Say What You Mean podcast. Jean P the MC, Christian Turner. How you feeling?
I feel great. How are you?
Good. Thank you for being on this show.
Absolutely. I'm happy to be here.
I'm glad. Like, you can always tell me we're going to have good guests. I love that you and Jeremy bonded over Harry Potter. It's always a good time.
What's your Patronus?
What is a Patronus? What's that? I don't know nothing about Harry Potter.
That's how you fend off the Dementors.
The what?
The Dementors. What? They're like soul-sucking beings.
We need a Harry Potter 101 episode.
Absolutely. My Patronus is an otter.
I'd have to look on my Potterless thing or the app or whatever to see what it was because I forget what it is.
Y'all got an app?
Mm-hmm. I don't have the app, but I have taken the quiz.
There's a whole
so you had
club.
That.
It's a whole situation.
See.
Like I said, I'm going to London in 2 weeks, and I told Jeremy I'll bring him something back because on one of the tours I'm going on, they stop at someone's house who was featured on the show.
It's probably the Privet Drive.
Privet Drive.
Probably.
Okay,
it was the Dursleys.
Yeah.
I should take y'all with. How y'all know that?
But people in London do not care about Harry Potter.
They don't? No. Okay. Because all these recommendations, I done told to go to Freddie Mercury house, told to check out this place to eat, told to go see this spot. I'm like, I'm only there for 3 days.
Oh.
Like, I have to be there for like a week to really enjoy. My friend, he's out there, shout out to Danny Bounce. He said to enjoy London, you have to be there for at least a year. To really,
I mean, it's like anywhere that you go. Like, you can only do so much. So that just means you need to plan a trip back.
I know. I want to go back for sure. Absolutely. It's my first time going international, so.
Oh, good for you.
Yeah, so I'll be out. So there won't be an episode for 2 weeks after this one. And then it with a bang. We're going on vacation. But, before we get into the pod, we got to pay some bills. So, it is sponsor time. Our first sponsor being the Hub Art Factory. Shout out to Tim Carmody. What do you think of the space?
It's fantastic.
Yeah, you've been here before. The first time, right?
No, this is my first time. But, I'm a photographer, too. So I use the graffiti outside. I look forward to when it changes.
Everybody.
Oh, yeah. I look forward to it. I shoot a lot of my senior pictures. So this is usually one of my locations for when the kids switch up and do one of their fun outfits. We usually come over here. Or we use the backside of George's as one of my backdrops.
It's the hot spot for photographers and senior photos.
Oh, yeah.
So shout out to Tim Carmody. Shout out to Aaron Dukes at Pristine Steam Wash. Shout out to Equity House. And our first official sponsor, Helmet Heads, where flavor is the main priority. Helmet Heads is a cannabis-based brand owned by cannabis cultivator and connoisseur Jamie Randall Jr. Each batch is carefully crafted in the most organic way possible to ensure a good, smooth, healthy product. No spray terps welcome. It's the baby. IG and Facebook, Helmet Heads Exotics. So those are our sponsors. So, Miss Turner, let's start from the beginning. Where are you from? What side of Canton you representing?
Well, I'm a 4th and Belden girl.
Oh, man.
Yep. So, actually, I was born in Japan. My parents were in the Navy, but I came back to Ohio. Well, my mom is from here, so I came back to Ohio when I was little. I lived in Washington State for a little while, but 4th and Belden is where I call home. Anybody who knows me knows that's my side of town.
You just said Belden. That's all you had to say.
That's it. Everybody who knows me knows, but I'm really proud to be from that side of town.
That's what's up, as you should.
Yeah, people know that it's a lot of hardworking folks over there.
It is.
And we if you do what you got to do on that side.
Yeah. What was it like growing up for you over there?
It's funny. I moved from my mother got out of the Navy and I went to live in Washington State, and then I came back and it was culture shock. All the kids looked like me, but we were not connected, and they were mean to me. So it was like I said, even though everybody looked like me, I was different. And I feel like most of my life, I've just kind of been making my way and figuring out who my people were and kind of figuring out where I fit in. And I still feel that way kind of to this day. But I found my folks. And I think that's kind of what life is about, is just getting in where you fit in. Don't try to be in places where you're not wanted.
Yeah.
And just figuring out who your people are. And that's just kind of been my way. So I graduated from McKinley in 2004. And then I went on to the University of Akron. But then while I was at Akron, I joined the Army. So I joined as a reserve soldier, but then I was kind of that person who was always either on some type of order or got sent somewhere or went to some type of training. So I went to Baghdad for the first time in 2010. So I initially joined the Army as an LPN. Which I always tell people I have lived a lot of lives.
I'm about to say, your resume is crazy.
When I sent it to you, I knew you were going to be like, who is this girl? But I think my resume is a good example of get it how you live. I've always some opportunities have just fallen in my lap, but then I've been like, I can do that, or I'll try that, or let's see how that works. And when it came to the Army, it was always very, what's something I can do in the Army, but that could also benefit me on the civilian side as well. So I'll have kids say, well, what do you think about me joining the Army? And I always say, do something you can do in there and out here too. So that's how I got my LPN license. So I was a licensed practical nurse in the Army, but I have an LPN license in the state of Ohio as well. So I just deactivated it. So what does that mean? That means that if one day I decide I want to be a nurse in Ohio again, I take a refresher course, I reactivate my license, I pay my money, and then I can be a nurse again. So it's one that you just keep in your back pocket. So it's like, is that what I'm doing right now? No. But if I decide I want to go get my my BS in, then I can always do that.
Where does this spirit of always doing something come from?
Because I grew up in survival mode.
100%.
You do what you have to do. One of my favorite quotes is, we do what we have to do so we can do what we want to do. And I've always kind of lived that way before. I got that from the movie The Great Debaters. But I was living that way before I knew I had to live that way.
Right.
My mom always did a great job taking care of me, but it took for me to be an adult to realize that we were living in survival mode. And I told myself as an adult that I wasn't going to live that way. And I found myself in pockets of my life living like that. And I go to therapy now, and I'm very grateful for that.
Respect.
And I always say that very openly because we all need to go.
100%.
But I recognize in parts of my life where I was just surviving. And a lot of my life is a reflection of that. But so I went and got my LPN license through the Army. So I also have my EMTB through the Army as well. So if I wanted to go on and be a paramedic or a firefighter, I could have done that as well. So it worked for me in the Army. I could have transitioned that into the civilian world as well. So I went to Baghdad the first time. As an LPN, so I passed meds to detainees at Copper Detainment Facility, and I ran an immunizations clinic there, which was a really fun experience. I wouldn't trade that for the world. And then I came back, so I have a bachelor's degree in public relations from the University of Akron. And then I was like, well, I kind of want to do something that kind of better aligns with my degree. So then I switched to broadcast communication. So the Department of Defense has what's called Defense Information School. So that's the only media school within the DoD. So I graduated from the broadcast communication course there. So I'm a trained radio and television broadcaster for the military.
So you could do a podcast if you wanted to.
I'm completely capable of doing a podcast.
Oh, man.
I could also, do video production, although video production is not my favorite, because if anybody knows anything about video production, you get in a very intimate relationship with your space bar.
Jordan can tell you that. It changed,
a lot of
that space bar, yeah.
But I'm capable of doing that as well. But something you just gotta have in your back pocket. So then in 2017, I went back to Baghdad with Special Operations Joint Task Force Iraq. So that was the coalition that was tasked with defeating ISIS, which we did successfully. So I did stuff like I taught photography classes to Iraqi military and their civilian forces. I was the general's photographer there. I worked at the embassy doing credentialing for VIP visitors. I did the Pentagon press corps briefings on Thursdays. So just different things that it wasn't what I asked to do, but that's what I was assigned to do, and it worked out really well. And I was a great resume builder there. I'm still friends with people that I met there today, and it was just a really well-rounded experience. And then in 2019, I was like, you know what? It's time for, after 13 years, I said it's time for me to tip my hat to Uncle Sam, and I walked away on good terms. But, it was one of those things where I believe that everything is a relationship, and being in the military wasn't a mutually serving relationship for me anymore. So I walked away, and it was I don't know that I would do it again, but it was a relationship that served me well for the time that it served me, and I served my country. And it was good.
Thank you.
So thank you. But in the meantime of doing that, I worked a lot of jobs in between. So I've done nonprofit communication. I was the marketing person for Canton Parks and Recreation. For almost the past 3.5 years, I was the PR director for Stark County Prosecutor Kyle Stone. That was a great
shout out to Kyle Stone.
That was a great experience. He's a great friend of mine. And then for the past 4 months, I have been the communications director for the city of Canton with Mayor Jéan. So that's the very short end of...
You just said the whole resume you sent?
Yeah, very short end. And in between meantime, I've worked a ton of retail. I have been across the country and back, taking different assignments. I have done a ton of things. Like, I am an around the way girl, get it how you live, do what needs to be done kind of girl.
I know Jeremy had mentioned, like, when you mentioned the military, he was excited about that. Did you have questions for her in regards to that?
I mean, she pretty much answered it. I was just going to ask how your time in Baghdad was, especially with the Iraqi freedom.
Yeah, that was interesting.
It was hot.
Let
me tell y'all.
What's the hottest it got out there?
Let me tell y'all something. That is...
She said hot, HAWT.
That is heat. Like I have never experienced
EAT
before. It was really interesting because like by the time we got there, and just hats off to the people who were there for like the early invasion, because there was nothing. Like they were sleeping in tents, they were digging holes to go to the bathroom. Like by the time I got there, it was very much so built up. Like I got a very different experience than the people who were there, like the 2003, 4, 5 people. Like they were like, as the kids say, get it out the mud. Like,
oh, they was getting out the mud.
They were just blessed their hearts. Like I'm waiting for the commercials for them to be entitled to compensation. Like they are the one. Like,
did you dig a hole?
Yes.
Is it?
Like, well, they have that now. Like the burn pit people, like
man,
the stuff that they were like, because they literally had to like pour gasoline to like burn crap. So like, bless their hearts. I didn't have to deal with that. The worst we had to do was like use porta potties in 118 degrees, which is, Jesus.
That doesn't sound comfortable.
It was not. But so like, I think that's kind of why my temperament for life is the way that it is right now, because the army sets the bar in hell. So like,
yes, it does.
So like, my standard for life is so low.
You appreciate just being outside,
bruh. It's like when people are like, I'm not sitting on the toilet at the mall. I'm like 118 degree porta potty in Kuwait.
Put a little paper towel.
Like I get it.
Right,
like I'm with you, but my bar is down here.
Right.
Like, so I just think
I had to do this in front of people at one point. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Like I once shared a room with 60 other girls. This whole like. Call downstairs to the desk and have them bring you towels. Like my bar for life is just, my appreciation for life is just so much different. Like there are people over there, like what people don't know about Baghdad is I used to sing, we had like a gospel choir, like a praise team group, and it was made up of like whoever lived on our FOB stands for Forward Operating Base. It was like made up of us. And then what people don't know is a lot of the security forces there are from Ghana. There were people there from Ghana who hadn't seen their families in years. And when they get paid, they send their whole check to their family. Like they keep enough money to like buy toiletries or like maybe a new pair of boots every couple years or whatever. And then they send all of their money home. These cats are only making $7-8 an hour
and still sending it back,
and they're still sending everything back to support their whole family. Or like the people who work in the dining facility, they're from India. They do the same exact things, and these people are grateful to be making $5 and $6 an hour. So it's like when I think about like what I have today, and like people don't know about me, like I was in a relationship with somebody and it didn't work out. I had moved to Minnesota with him and it didn't end great, but I came back home and I ended up, just a series of unfortunate events, I ended up not really having a place to stay. And like that was only 8 years ago. So it's like all my stuff was legit in my car, and like my friend was like, well, just come stay with me. Like I slept on an air mattress in his computer room. That's only 8 years removed from that right now.
Like you said, being appreciative.
So it's like we're all just only one decision or one mistake or one just, and it's not, oh, you got to be a terrible person or you got to mess up your life real bad or any of those things. So like I think about the people I sang with in Ghana. I think about the guy who used to mop the floor at the hospital, who used to bring me curry on Thursdays, or like I think about those people all the time, and those are the people who just keep my life in. I know that's not what you asked me, but those are just the kind of things that just like keep my life into perspective.
I'm glad you said that, though. Yeah, it's very great you said it, because those moments where things are different, or like you said, you mentioned you were in the car, it reminds you. Like I think about that now. Like when I open my fridge and there's groceries in there, I'm like, it was one important time where I had to ask, hey man, can I borrow $20 and get something to eat? Or those moments of struggle, even you're experiencing Baghdad, like it makes you so appreciative of life now. that you spend it with your daughter now versus being out in the heat. You know what I'm saying? It reminds you of being grateful. What are some other moments that you're just grateful for?
I think about like the self-care movement right now. Like people think about like, I go get a pedicure, or I go do things like self-care. For me is like, I'm grateful to go to therapy when I want to. Like, that's my self-care, and I can afford it.
Yeah.
Or I am a creature of comfort, and I also like to pay for conveniences. So like, if I feel overwhelmed, I'll drop my clothes off at the laundry service, or I have people in my life who will help me with my laundry, or people who help me with my kid, because I'm a solo parent. Or like, I'm able to like have someone come clean my house for me if I feel overwhelmed. So like, those are things that at one time I could not afford to do those things. And I share those with people, not to like brag, but it's okay to ask for help. It's okay to accept help when you are being given help.
Yep.
Help is always available to those who ask for it. That's a Harry Potter reference.
I was saying Harry Potter bars.
But just, I'm grateful for when people are. I am grateful for when people are think of me enough to even offer to help me. I am grateful to be surrounded by people who believed in me. Like, those are all like just things that I think people sometimes take for granted, because everybody doesn't have people around them that believe in them. Or people don't recognize that there are people around them, and they're just not surrounding themselves with the right people. So I just think that and I'm just grateful to be in my right mind. Like, there are some people who just genuinely, no fault of their own, are not operating from a good mental space. So being able to see like, I am healthy, I am happy most days. And I always say, something I started to say, some days are better than others. And I have the discernment to say, today is an other, but all day doesn't have to be an other. So what can I do to turn this day from an other to something better?
My quote is like, every day isn't good, but it's something good in every day.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And it's okay for every day not to be a great day.
It is.
Like, because sometimes I think that we get stuck in toxic positivity. Like, because things have been so bad for so long for some people, or like COVID was not a great time period for a lot of us, we get stuck in like toxic positivity mode. Like, everything has to be so great. Today's going to be a great day. Well, guess what? Every day's not a great day. But it doesn't mean that it has to stay that way, or the whole week doesn't have to be that way, or a week doesn't have to turn into a month, and a month doesn't have to turn into 6 months. And if it does turn into that, who are you going to lean on? Do you go to therapy, or do you have somebody that you trust, or does your job have EAP to where like maybe you don't have to pay for it, but maybe you can get some sessions for free? Like, what resources do you have available to you, or what is it that you're willing to tap into that can help you turn that other not into an extended other?
When you talked about people seeing good in you, the one thing, well, my first introduction with you was seeing you with the mayor. What led you to that point? Like, seeing you next to him. I never even met a mayor before until I saw you and him in the Priscilla. What led you to being his right hand person? Like, what led you to being in that relationship with him?
So that job opened. So what's interesting is, I was at the prosecutor's office. I wasn't looking for a job. That job just came available. And what's really interesting is like, the Kyle Stone prosecutor, he and I have had a long relationship. I've known him since I was a kid, and I was actually working we had an event for the Girl Scouts, and he called me and was like, I know you saw that job, and this is my boss, you know. And one thing about our friend circle and just our professional network is, and this is just a lesson for everybody, that if there are people, even if it's better for them to be serving you, if it will better benefit their life for them to be doing something else, empower them to do that.
Got that. And
he was like, I know you saw this. And I was like, I did. And he was like, are you going to apply? And I was like, I probably will. So I applied. I want to say about 87 other people applied. And I was able to get the job, and I've been hitting the ground with the mayor ever since.
Man, that's a blessing. Yeah. Just to have that connection, like to be able to have these connections with him, and have these moments and like just like what's a day like with the mayor?
There is no typical day.
No.
It really just depends. It really just depends on what we have going on. So like right now, our focus in Canton is the neighborhoods. I think a lot of people in Canton feel like it's been about big business. It's been about industry. There's been a lot of focus on the Hall of Fame and the Hall of Fame Village, which we absolutely want to be successful.
Yeah.
Because the Hall of Fame and the Hall of Fame Village wins, we win. But I think that some of the folks in the neighborhoods feel forgotten. So right now we are redoing the comp plan. So that we can make more focus on our neighborhoods. We're also doing the neighborhood transformation initiative. So we're doing like a series of town halls right now. So last week we had our first one at the Bill Coleman Center on the southeast side of town. Most people call it the center. They call it the Urban League. It just depends on when you came up. This is what you decide to call it. And we had a huge turnout. I mean, the room was packed and I was very proud. And we just got to let people know like what we have going on. We have 4 more of them coming up, one on the southwest side of town, the northeast, the northwest, and we're going to have one downtown at the One Center. So everybody can find that out at cantanohio.gov/town halls. You can register to attend all of them. You can register to just attend one. So each one, we're going to talk about what we have going on in that part of town. So just letting people know like what our plans for, but also for the city, but just also letting people know like you can let us know what you want. What projects do you think are important? What is it that you want to see? Because I think, and I use this word as with love in its true definition, a lot of people are just ignorant. They genuinely just don't know. And that word has been villainized over time because people use it to attack. But people just don't know what they don't know. And we haven't done a good job as an administration of letting people know what we have going on. And it's my job specifically to do a better job of letting people know what we have.
I think that's so important being from this city. Is like there's a lot of things that happen that we just don't know about. We
have no idea.
We just don't know. Mm-hmm. And once we find out, we're just like, oh, we could have been involved with that, or we could have shared this information. So I'm glad that you've shared that. Before we go on break, how can people get more involved with the city?
One thing is, number one, come to town halls.
Yeah.
Register, because when you register, I now have your email address. I have your phone number. The other thing is sign up for mobile alerts. So I'm in charge of that too. Literally. What happens is you sign up, you go to cantanohio.gov/alerts. We send text messages. You want to know about downtown events? You'll get a text message about it. You want to know what's going on at the Civic Center? You'll get a text message about it. You want to know what's going on at Park? There's events going on at the Parks Department. You'll get a text message about it. The information will literally come straight to your phone. And then that way you can't say you didn't know about it because you signed up for it.
Thank you so much. That's dope. So here's what I want to do. Yeah. I want to take a break and do a section called P's Positive Point, where you say a quote, Jeremy says one, and I say one. And I want to ask you when we come back about the importance of local elections. Yeah. And could you answer that for me?
Sure.
All right. So we're going to take a break and we'll be right back. Say What You Mean, Christian Turner, episode 155. Peace.
Peace.
Shaq.
Smart businessman.
Episode 155, Say What You Mean podcast. Christian Turner. This has been a fun episode.
It has been fun.
You like one of the homies now, man. You one of the crew.
I'm happy to be here.
You gonna come back on the show again?
Sure.
When you gonna do your own podcast?
You know, people have asked me that for a long time. I think maybe when I had the capacity for it.
Yeah, you got a lot going on.
I have all the things.
Because you said your whole resume on the first half. Like, she read it all where she memorizes it.
Just start a Harry Potter one.
I love this connection right here with the Harry Potter. I love that, man.
I love it. I love it. I think when I feel called to do it. It's in the back of my mind, but I don't think I'm called to do it.
We just talked music, business, politics. You'd be perfect for a podcast.
I think right now I'm being called to be a guest.
Yeah. You're a great guest.
Thank you.
155th episode, too.
Hey, I need to go.
You.
My granny would be sad if I don't go play that because, you know, they love to play the number.
You play the number?
No, but I'm going to go play that just because my grandmother would feel compelled. She lives across the street. I'm gonna go.
Oh, yeah.
Play. She lives right across the street.
You gotta go play that.
Yes, 155.
155. Lucky number.
Look.
That's your number?
If I hit, I almost break y'all off.
You be good to sponsorship?
Yeah.
Come on, man. Come on.
Fourth and Belden.
Fourth and Belden, all the in the number 155.
That's the name of my business for real. Fourth and Belden Public Relations.
Really?
Yeah.
You do everything. Can you tell us about that a little bit?
Sure. I started Fourth and Belden Public Relations. Oh, it's been years at this point. It's what I do my photography business through. But if there are...
Take pictures too?
I am a photographer. I am.
It was in the bio, John.
I know.
I am. I love photography. I don't promote as much as I used to, but I do. I just had some senior pictures last week. Beautiful young lady who's graduating from Glen Oak.
That's what's up.
I love photography. It's just, there's just something about capturing moments that's just really special. But yeah, like, there are people who just kind of don't know where to start. I don't know how to write a press release. I don't know, what my vision is. So I help people kind of get that off the ground, but they can always send me an email, fourthandbeldenpr@gmail.com.
So in the midst of our off the record conversations and everything going on, we did talk a little bit of politics, obviously with the presidential race going on, but this being Canton, we talk about local politics. Can you briefly talk about how important it is for local elections? Because we're all just bent on Kamala and Trump. Like, how important is local elections and local office?
It's imperative.
Yeah.
People think I'm just going to vote every 4 years when there's a presidential election, which is important.
Right.
There are decisions that can be made. Sometimes there are, Supreme Court nominations that can come out of a presidency, but your local elections have such a big impact around you. For example, our prosecutor is up right now. We have judges who are up right now. We have our council people who come up every X number of years. Those are the people who will fight for you, who will pass ordinances. You come to council meetings, you talk to them. They are the ones who will go to bat for you when you have an issue right in your backyard. The president is not going to come to your house and talk to you about your fence. They're not going to talk to you about a dispute that you're having with a business down the street. That's why it's important for you to elect a council person who will go to bat for you. If you don't like your council person, then you can run for council yourself. That is why local elections are important. If you don't like the way that a certain judge is making decisions on the bench, well, when someone runs against them, you vote for their opponent. Those are the people who have an impact, a much more greater impact on your day-to-day life than just a president. Your Congress people that are around you, your state representatives, the people who pass legislation for Ohio laws. For instance, marijuana was on the ballot at one time. Abortion rights, people who care about women and reproductive rights. Those are the things, being able to smoke in restaurants. Those are all things that are decided at the state level. But if you do not go out and vote at the state when we have primaries, those are the elections that happen in the spring. You don't go vote in the primary. Those are the things that get on the ballot in November. So people have to be cognizant of, you need to vote in your primaries. And even if it is not a national levies, for instance, parks levies, those are how you get equipment at your local park. Those are how you get more splash pads at your local park. That's where you get support for, where am I going to take my children? Those are things that impact the real estate market. People want to move to places where they have green spaces near where they're going to buy a home. 100%. That impacts the economic development of where you live. So voting matters in more ways than just, I'm going to decide who is running for president or not. It has a greater impact when it comes time for police. For instance, smaller townships, they pass police levies for how many police that they can have on staff, or some have road levies where they can pass, how much they can allot for paving. You want your pothole fixed or no?
Right.
So when you hit a pothole, and this isn't necessarily how Canton works, but well, it is because we have a general fund. But in some of these townships, when you hit a pothole and you can't figure out why you can't get a pothole fixed, well, did you vote for the road levy that happened to hit the primary ballot and then it hit? Well, no. If you're not showing up to vote, or if you're not going to township meetings, if you're not going to city council meetings, you can't not be involved in your local processes. And then you jump on social media and you complain that you didn't know about your pothole, but then you ignore the opportunity to get involved. You have to get involved in your community. You have to get involved locally, and then that's how you give yourself the opportunity to have your voice heard.
Thank you for that education.
Yeah.
Because people don't know the importance of that. It's more than just the president. Local elections are important. So.
Absolutely.
Peace, positive point. Jeremy, you want to go first?
Yeah, I'll go first. My quote touches bases on what was talked about earlier. It's called, "It's not a bad day." I mean, it's just a bad day, not a bad life.
What's that mean to you?
It just means, even on the bad days, there's, better ones are coming. Just because, you might... I've had a shitty situation happen to you today. Doesn't mean every day it's going to be just like that. You can change that. It's not always going to be bad.
I like that. You have a quote for us?
My quote is, "I may not be fly every day, but you know what I'm capable of."
What's that mean to you?
It means that, every day we might not show up our best. We may not be suited and booted every day, but there are days where you saw who I could be, and you know completely what I'm capable of.
I like that. My positive point, I said it earlier, we were giving positive points, we were talking, is every day isn't good, but it's something good in every day. I think we're always conditioned, like we can't be sad. It's okay to have bad days. You learn from the bad days. You learn from the bad times. A constant reminder to myself, when the days aren't as happy, we understand that they happen, it's a part of life. I think we forget that. Like, we just so used to thinking everything is so perfect and smooth. We don't prepare for the bad times. So we don't prepare for the moments where things might go weary, so every day isn't good, but it's something good in every day. That's my positive point. Any last shout outs before we get out of here? What you got planned today? You got a busy day. You always doing something.
I'm always doing something. My cousin just graduated from Kent State, so I'm going to go celebrate him.
Congratulations.
I'm going to go get my baby back. The Briseis.
Yeah. You got to bring her next time.
The sweetest thing I've ever known.
I know we could have took a picture together because she takes some great photos.
She does. My favorite little model.
How old is she?
She's 4.
4?
Yes, and she's wonderful.
She's dope, man.
Yeah.
Every time you share photos of her, just brings a light. I'm like, she's just so happy, and she knows she's a star.
Yes. I always say, like, everyone thinks their child is special, but I promise y'all, when they pulled her out, she looked around, she cried for a second, and she was like, okay, we're doing this.
It's go time.
Let's go. Let's get it. Let's get it.
That's what's up. Jeremy, what about you?
I don't have any plans. I think I'm just going to go home and game with a couple of my buddies. I think that's about it.
Any shout outs? What's in the crock pot today?
No crock pots. I'm going to go home and fillet up some sirloins I bought the other day.
Oh,
y'all Harry Potter fans now, so you gotta hook her up.
I got a 2-pack.
I know what your Patronus is now. We're friends.
That's what's up. So shout out to everyone that's been watching the podcast. 155 episodes. We'll be off for the next couple of weeks. I'll be in London. I'm excited about that. I wish I knew more about Harry Potter because I'm going to see, I forgot what that's called. What did I say it was?
The Dursleys on Privet Drive?
The Dursleys on Privet Drive.
Okay. I think so. I think that's what it is.
That's all the way in Surrey, though. So we'll see.
I'm going to see the Stonehenge. I'm going to see Windsor Castle, Bath. Going to try some cool things out there. I'm going to a place called Mercado Mayfair.
Okay.
It's an old church, but it's a food hall.
Oh.
So I'm ready to go.
That's really exciting.
It's a 7-hour flight.
I know a thing or two about long flights.
Oh, I know. I never been on a plane that long.
It's okay.
We'll be all right.
You take your nap. You'll sleep most of it.
Yeah, I'm leaving at night, so
You'll sleep most of it. You'll probably be up. They'll come by and like see if you want a snack or something, but you'll sleep most of it.
I hope, man. It's a long flight. What I'm gonna do? I'm gonna watch. I'm packing my iPad normally on the plane. Like,
You over prepare for long flights.
yeah.
It took 23 hours for me to get to Kuwait the first time. And
What did you do?
I was knocked out. We were all knocked out on there, stuck like sardines. You just find things to do. 7 hours, you'll be okay.
Yeah. Watch a couple movies.
Yeah.
Check some things out. Chill out. So we'll be out for a couple of weeks. Thank you for being on the show once again. When can we get the mayor on the show? Do we get him on sometime?
Let me see what I can line up.
Yeah, man. That's my guy. He was a cool dude, man, when we met each other. Shout out to the mayor, man. He's a real dope dude.
He's a good guy. He cares
Yeah.
a lot about the community.
He does, man. When I seen him at Nemisilla, man, and we shook hands and got the chop, it was really good to do that. I've never had that experience with any politician. So,
Yeah.
dope to meet him, man. So, yeah, we'll be out for a couple of weeks. Jean P, the MC, Christian Turner, Jeremy in the house, episode 155. We will see y'all then. Say what you mean.
Peace.
Peace.
Say what you mean what you say. I'm from the 330.